Why Mean Girls 2 failed. Hey guys, today we're going to talk about why Mean Girls 2 failed. Let's get right into it. A teen comedy that nobody wants to see. Mean Girls 2 is a mostly standalone sequel to Mean Girls from 2004. This film introduces new cast members in new roles. However, Tim Meadows, an original Mean Girls cast member who plays Principal Ron Duvall, reprises his role in the sequel. Mean Girls 2 is set at North Shore High School, which was featured in the first film. Though many elements from the previous film are present, including the popular girl clique, the Plastics, many changes have been made to the overall storyline, characterization, and climax, making this film unpopular with previous film fans. Lack of diversity. For one thing, viewers will notice a lack of ethnic and racial diversity among many of the characters in Mean Girls 2. Despite the fact that Mean Girls 2 is directed by a woman, Melanie Mayron, and that many of the characters are female, the director and all of the characters are white, with the exception of Principal Ron Duvall. In addition, unlike the previous film, there are no black or Asian minorities in this one. Minor characters from two high school cliques, the Cool Asians and the Unfriendly Black Hotties, appeared in Mean Girls. Mean Girls 2 did not include these minorities, lowering the film's quality. This film, like the original, does not address gender stereotyping. Where did the cast go? Except for one character, Mr. Duvall, played by Tim Meadows, the original cast is entirely absent. In case you were wondering what the main cast was up to during the remake, here's what they were up to. According to CNN, Lindsay Lohan was placed in rehab 3 times, missed 4 court hearings, and spent 90 days in jail for misdemeanor and cocaine use. Rachel McAdams was in another high-profile film, Morning Glory, co-starring Harrison Ford. Tina Fey was a writer and star on the hit TV show 30 Rock. Finally, let us not forget Janice. Since her blockbuster debut in Mean Girls in 2004, Lizzie Kaplan has starred in many popular films including Now You See Me 2, 127 Hours, The Interview, and Cloverfield. Dull-witted script. This trailer recreates one of the original film's most iconic scenes, when the Plastics meet Katie for the first time round. Rumors about the protagonist's origins circulate, as they did in the first film. Joe's rumors include that she came somewhere from like Florida or Texas. Then I also heard that she's an exchange student from Russia. An iconic line came out of the original when Katie says she's from Africa and Karen responds with, "So if you're from Africa, why are you white?" And then Gretchen chastises her by saying, "Oh my god, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white." They also established the unrealistic expectation that dogs are permitted in all high school lunchrooms. This scene, even for the Queen Bee, is unrealistic and poorly written. The writers of this film also dumbed down all of the main characters to ridiculous levels. Even for shallow people, these characters are unattainable for any high schooler. Production error. A key component of any good sequel is keeping the majority of the main characters and either picking up where the first film left off or creating a new storyline for them. Mean Girls 2 makes no attempt to turn this film into a series, opting instead for a remake with a new cast. When the audience realizes that the film is essentially the same script with different names and less comedy, there is a major issue for all parties involved. Even Joe and Katie's introduction is similar, but the sequel fails to include hilarity in their exposition. The plotline is dull and there is almost no comedic timing in this film. Mean Girls 2 is solely based on the original's name and popularity. A thinly veiled remake. The fact that Mean Girls 2 is essentially just a rehash of the first film from 2004 makes it a huge letdown for its target demographic of young people. The story is based on the original movie in a rudimentary way. The main character, Megan Martin, is known as the new girl. She befriends another girl who is known as an outcast. Both girls come into contact with the Plastics. The new girl falls in love with a popular jock, and the new girl goes from being an outcast to being popular to being an outcast again. Many memorable quotes from the previous film are cut, lowering the film's quality yet again. Both the events that take place and the overall plot are incomprehensible. Mean Girls 2, on the other hand, has no clear sense of where it wants to go with its narrative, in contrast to the first film, which has a well-developed plot that includes iconic elements like the Kathleen bars and the burn. Surprisingly, the sequel to this film does not begin with the original characters picking up where they left off in the first installment of the franchise. When it comes to writing scripts for future teen movies, screenwriters need to keep a few things in mind. The story needs to be original, the cast should be more diverse, the main character should be involved in a compelling conflict, and the writers need to come up with something unique to pique the interest of potential viewers. As a consequence of this, Mean Girls 2 is regarded as a major failure within the canon of teen comedies. That's all for today. And we'll be sure to catch you all in the next one.